government, we must guard against the acquisition of unwarranted influence, whether sought or unsought, by the military-industrial complex.
Okay, welcome back everyone to Anonymous Bites Back on a Sunday. A shorter episode tonight, but we're going to discuss some Assange updates, social media censorship, the new supposed operation of Anonymous against Elon Musk, and probably some other stuff. It's not going to be long, but at least an hour. So. Not sure that you guys see that stuff, that message against Elon Musk.
How do you want to play it? We should play it.
Yeah, do you want to start it or should I do it?
Yeah, I will. Let me pull it up here real quick. If you want to kind of lead us into it, though, you're more than welcome to.
Yeah.
While I pull it up. Here we go.
Yeah, I should start with a disclaimer. I also posted on my Twitter that like myself and our friends pretty much we aren't really involved with this. I saw the okay, so it starts. That's
I'll full screen it here.
Okay.
But yeah, no, I mean, you go ahead and get your statement out of the way, Lubers, because that's important.
Yeah, because it was released on that big Facebook page first. That one is also called annewspost.com or anonnews.co, which is like a huge website. It's like 13 million likes on Facebook, but it is pretty much a commercial website. We know who runs it, etc., and all these things. So they got famous last year. They also did that whole George Floyd video, and that made them viral like overnight. And this one also went viral, has millions and millions of views. On this one I see like 500,000, but it is on other platforms too, and there's millions of views. And well, it is about the whole Bitcoin stuff, right? Elon Musk playing around with Bitcoin, fucking over a lot of people, messing with their money, right? Their investments in crypto, and pissed a lot of people off, including these guys, I guess. And well, listeners, just want to repeat that Anonymous is not a group, right? It is decentralized, so these are specific anons involved with this. And yeah,
I'm gonna go ahead and hit play since we've had the share up for this whole time.
Okay. Do it.
Greetings, citizens of the world. This is a message from Anonymous, for Elon Musk. For the past several years you have enjoyed one of the most favorable reputations of anyone in the billionaire class, because you have tapped into the desire that many of us have to live in a world with electric cars and space exploration, but recently your carefully created public image is being exposed, and people are beginning to see you as nothing more than another narcissistic rich dude who is desperate for attention. It appears that your quest to save the world is more rooted in a superiority and savior complex than it is in actual concern for humanity. This has been obvious to your employees for a long time, who have faced intolerable conditions under your command for years. It is also obvious to the young children working in your overseas lithium mines, which are destroying the local environment as well. You have been open about your willingness to stage coups in order to install dictators in places where your toxic products are being mined. You have even prematurely crowned yourself Emperor of Mars, a place where you will be sending people to die. Your fanboys overlook these issues because they are focused on the potential good that your projects can bring to the world, but you are not the only show in town, and your competition is growing more intense with each passing day. There are plenty of other companies working on space exploration and electric vehicles. You are just the only CEO who has gained a cult following through shitposting and trolling the world on social media. In fact, many people are now learning that the vast majority of Tesla's income doesn't actually come from selling cars, it comes from government subsidies, selling carbon tax credits for your innovation with clean energy. This technically isn't your innovation though, because you aren't actually the founder of Tesla, you simply purchased the company from two people much more intelligent than you are, Martin Eberhard and Mark Tarpenning. Tesla has also made more money holding Bitcoin for a few months than they did in years of selling cars. It is also more than likely that this Bitcoin was purchased with money from these government subsidies. It is now widely believed that you have been forced to denounce your company's involvement with Bitcoin in order to keep that green government money flowing into Tesla's coffers. The energy use argument about proof-of-work mining is a very nuanced conversation that requires a fairly complex understanding of how power grids work, and how excess energy is wasted by power companies, and sought out by crypto miners. This is a conversation that you have been having for over a year and were intimately aware of, but as soon as your main source of income was threatened you pretended to be clueless in an attempt to play both sides of the fence. Then, your move to create a Bitcoin miner council was rightly seen as an attempt to centralize the industry and take it under your control. Reading from the comments on your Twitter posts, it seems that the games you have played with the crypto markets have destroyed lives. Millions of retail investors were really counting on their crypto gains to improve their lives. This is something that you will never understand because you were born into the stolen wealth of a South African apartheid emerald mine and have no clue what struggle is like for most of the working people in the world. Of course, they took the risk upon themselves when they invested, and everyone knows to be prepared for volatility in crypto, but your tweets this week show a clear disregard for the average working person. As hard-working people have their dreams liquidated over your public temper tantrums, you continue to mock them with memes from one of your million-dollar mansions. You may think you are the smartest person in the room, but now you have met your match. We are Anonymous. We are Legion. Expect us.
So, what was your first impression when you saw this?
Well, I mean, I'm glad that there are people who are taking a shot at Elon, to be perfectly honest, because Elon has gotten a free pass as the good billionaire for years and years and years. People are willing to overlook so much about that guy, and people completely memory hold the, son of blood emerald apartheid billionaires. They forget that he didn't invent the the machinery that goes into a Tesla, or sorry, the programming behind a Tesla. I mean, there's so many different angles of approach to Elon that so many people don't even think about, and I'm glad that a team got together, whether or not they're flying it under the flag of Anonymous is, open for discussion. But I'm glad that a team got together to bring forward some information on it. I am.
Yeah, and he kind of deserved it too by messing around with the whole alternative crypto community like that.
100%. And don't think for a moment that wasn't 100, like, all the way following orders.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
Elon didn't just wake up one day and decide to completely fuck the crypto market.
Yeah, exactly.
I
But-
find it funny that these companies like Tesla, SpaceX, Microsoft, all they do is just take the technology that's been invented by someone else and then they market it. They're like marketing companies.
Yeah, I mean, and in this case, using the dead guy who was more than likely assassinated for his knowledge.
Yeah. And he died penniless because Westinghouse bought his patents for cheap and then waited until he died so he couldn't do anything about it.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's how it goes, right?
At the time, the Bill Gates was Thomas Edison, and then Westinghouse came out like the Tesla, like, you know, Elon Musk, and then came to save the day. But they already knew what was the better technology. They just, you know, they needed to draw him out, like, you know, make him penniless, and then they could take over his technology. I think Microsoft and Apple, they stole their shit from Xerox, I believe.
Yeah.
And Tesla, SpaceX stole their shit from Lockheed Martin. One of their jets that were supposed to go vertical, it's old technology. They just like rebadged it and then they sold it as a privatized NASA program. But you know, the public-private partnerships, they always cost more in the long run. He's an oligarch, yeah.
I mean, what do you think, Lubers?
Yeah, well, I agree with the video. Obviously, I mean, Elon Musk deserves it. He's been like looked at as some kind of hero the whole time. Like he is different than other billionaires. Meanwhile, he became rich during the whole lockdown. He pretty much played around with the crypto market, abusing it heavily. Like, and we all know that it is at least an attempt by financial anarchists to build something for themselves, like a separate monetary system. And Elon Musk is just this example of old power, old billionaires, old money jumping in that market, attempting to destroy it, and then walk away. And especially if the video is correct and it says that it is done by government subsidies, he literally used government money to attempt to destroy the crypto market. So I agree with that, even though I'm not a big fan of the source of the video. The video is good. I mean, and I hope it shows a message to the world that not everyone agrees with what these billionaires are doing in that sense.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, I'm not in for supporting anyone with what appears to be professional branding on Facebook.
No.
You know, but
it hits me in the
it's
face when I
not-
see at the end of the video I see a copyright logo, right? And that's
yeah.
weird to me. That shouldn't be there, but yeah.
I mean, I believe I still have it up too. Yeah, copyright
Like, are you kidding me? This is not a
nonnews.co.
yeah with a copyright little
With
copyright
a
symbol.
copyright. Like, even if that's a joke. Like, if that's a joke, okay, that's a joke. I get it, you know. But if you're legit trying to trademark your Anon site, that's not.
Doesn't a trademark give you like a trail that you could follow who was behind it?
You would think so, although maybe it would just lead to the Auckland War Memorial.
Well, come on, at least end it with like a Creative Commons or in memory of Aaron Swartz or whatever, right? Don't put like a copyright logo on it. Like, that's kind of defeating the whole legacy we tried to build, right? I mean,
Yeah, but you know, there's a big part of the non-community that they still see like this Bitcoin as their market. It's like another Wall Street. It's becoming another Wall Street.
Well, you don't. I mean, look, dude. There is the potential for financial independence in counter economics. This is where the crypto community has to make a decision. And that is obviously the mainstream crypto space is saturated with, establishment-backed dollars, government-backed dollars. The fact that we still have to exchange to cash out, if we're going to cash out of crypto through that, currency and route, is in and of itself, like, not conducive to counter economic theory. But the potential remains at the moment to use crypto as a genuine pathway towards, financial independence and liberation through counter economics. And I think that's why we're seeing so much interference with that space to begin with, because real money started being made from it, and they went, "Oh fuck, you can't do that."
Yeah, exactly. At first it was small, they didn't care much, and then it becomes real, and they do everything they can to destroy it, to take it down. And
well, if you have people who don't actually believe in the ultimate goal, come in there and invest. What they do is they create a volatile market where people come in and they go, "I don't trust this shit. I'm not going to hold on to any of it because, I'm just going to use it to buy stuff that I need to use crypto for." And like you said, it all funnels down into the dollar again. And if they wanted to, they can make it illegal. Like, you can't convert crypto into dollars. You have to go through some kind of agency or whatever. And that could destroy it. Like, if people are still not trading crypto without using the dollar exchange, then they're useless. Like, until they become independent. That's the hard part, because you have a lot of these. I think it was what's his name, Michael Hudson, economist. He said, when you have a group of people that are in a market, but they wouldn't be in that market if they couldn't make easy money, then you still don't have a real currency yet. It's a fad still. That's what he was saying. But who knows? I mean, maybe after this, it will filter out all these people that are looking to make a quick buck.
You need mass adoption of the crypto, that you can actually pay directly to your suppliers, or that people use it as an alternative currency.
Or get paid by your employer with it.
Okay,
it's really attractive to the guys that are like what do you call entrepreneurs, like these indie people that like, oh, I run a shop that does this and that, but to a normal working class person that has a job and they have to pay bills in dollars and stuff like that, it's still like one of those very difficult things to jump into. Like my coworkers, a couple of them, they're only in crypto because they think they can make money. That's it. They don't really give a shit about crypto.
Well, right. That's most of that have jumped onto crypto, is they don't understand it. They're not concerned about it. They're not thinking about, the potential risks. They're not, in terms of like surveillance and turning it from one method of fiat to another method of fiat, and having things where, like all of the negative impacts or aspects of blockchain, that's not being considered. And where the anti-blockchain people are, this is where they have a legitimate argument, a legitimate point. Replacing human trust and replacing human government with machine-driven blockchain existence, bad. Way bad. And it's the passive acceptance and the not taking it seriously and the potential for quick money that is going to lead people into just accepting that as the next new normal.
Yeah. Yeah, I would embrace any alternative to the financial system at this point. Okay, there are a lot of responses about this video, by the way, even below your tweet already, Steve. LARPing fake announce, someone said. In the chat, it's also like a lot of people don't agree with it. The local league guy said he's not going to help either and stuff. Well, okay, so. But you have to judge the message, I guess, and not the messenger. I already said, like, I don't agree with the whole copyright stuff either, and where it's coming from, whatever. Those are the people who attempt to centralize Anonymous, have been doing it for a while. We don't have to be so worried about that part, to be honest. I mean, the idea of anonymity anyone can use, and centralization will not be an issue in the long term. But I get it. But you have to look at the message, right? And if you disagree with what Elon Musk has been doing, what the establishment has been doing, and Elon Musk is heavily connected into military intelligence, etc., already since Peter Thiel. It's about time that someone says something back. And this outlet, which has over 13 million followers on just Facebook alone, and then you have You're Non-Central on Twitter jumping on. It's about 6 million followers. Okay, so they're certainly big enough to speak back against Elon Musk, I guess. And I know all the nons, etc. If you're listening, I know you won't agree with this, and you will be very pissed off with this because you know what kind of accounts these are. But
right,
who do we hate more? People who have some kind of idea like, yeah, let's be like a central command of Anonymous, or do we hate the people like Elon Musk who are actually destroying the world, and any alternative we have to have some kind of anarchic financial system attempt? So yeah, I'd say in this case, fuck Elon Musk, to be honest. But I do want to repeat the disclaimer. Like I'm not involved in any of this operation, and whoever is doing it, I wish them good luck. But yeah.
You know, it's actually a good thing that he pissed off the Bitcoin people. I mean, whatever, the crypto people, because now you have an audience to listen that this guy is full of shit, and he's basically been given his position. Because before then, they probably didn't really care. You know, a lot of these crypto people, they're in their bubble. That's another bubble. At least they tied into the oligarchy and politics and the military, because the whole SpaceX thing is a military thing.
Oh, beyond a shadow of a doubt. And I do maintain, if you were watching our show earlier, then you heard me say this, but I maintain that the SpaceX program is also an elaborate dead hooker disposal program. The rate at which those rockets blow up.
Yeah, okay, but so this part I think is missing from the video, and if they did the research well, whoever made the video, you would mention Peter Thiel, the PayPal mafia history, and the connections to In-Q-Tel, Palantir, and all these things. You could have mentioned it, because this is U.S. intelligence, U.S. government, including government subsidies that they did mention. So it is very easy to see, like the U.S. government, they're trying to take out Bitcoin, whatever.
Rubers, the person that you responded to is a straight up like paid troll.
Yeah.
That person just goes around Twitter and follows and stalks the accounts of legitimate activists and tries to smear them. Like, that's what they do. I have that account muted.
Yeah. Was he giving a mean reply?
I don't know. I have the account muted.
Oh, I'm gonna see if he gives a mean reply. I'm going to make a mean reply.
They're there to muddy waters and stir shit. They're not there to help.
Yeah. It's always a sad story.
No, dude. Like, I mean, like Misty says, you can't get a plant You can't learn how to knit, fucking golf. Like this is your job, or this is what you do with your spare time. If you're that pathetic, being paid, like at least you're selling out for something. But if you're just voluntarily following activists around on the internet just to like muddy the waters or fucking discredit what they're doing or try to stop what they're doing, and you're doing that for free, how fucking pathetic are you?
Do you mean that Don't Tell the House Slaves guy, or?
I don't know.
Oh, there's another one, because it's checklist guy who replies actually follows me too.
That's the checklist guy. That's one of those guys. I don't know if he's doing it for free or if he's if he's being paid for it. The rate at which that dude seems to operate, never sleeping with that account,
Oh, yeah.
I would think that it's multiple people on the account that are at least, getting compensated in some way to do that. But if it's voluntary, dude, that's just lame. Like, I mean, as a human being, that is a sad, pathetic, weak human.
Yeah, I guess. Okay, yeah. At least we know they're watching, so enjoy.
Right?
Yeah. Okay. Well, we have an extra
But
viewer, I
you
guess.
find out that the people that hate the show watch the show more and longer than the people that love the show.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
that's how radio worked, at least.
Yep. I remember my father used to listen to Rush Limbaugh, the right wing guy, and he used to say, he was like, a lot of my audience are the Democrats who are listening to just hate listen to me.
Howard Stern, same way. I mean, dude, even when I talk to people who are fans of Slow News Day, they will hate watch a show religiously, and they'll watch our show when, like, it's a particular topic that they want to know more about, or it's a particular guest that, they really want to hear from. But they'll hate watch shows religiously, and it's like, I cannot do that, man. I can't.
Jimmy Dore. Jimmy
One.
Dore does that. I mean, like, you see him, he's always trying to find, like, Rachel Maddow clips or whatever.
That's the backbone of his content, is those clips.
Yeah, he's smart, though, because he gets the audience of the hate watchers of both sides.
Okay, we have Eric Harvey coming in. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
But yeah,
Okay.
I mean, at that point, like, and I think it's disappointing that comedians wind up being the thought leaders of political movements because of this. Because if you're just trying to do a show that is entertaining, that is, but exposing the bullshit out there from a comedic perspective, and that's the basis of your channel, which is essentially reacting to the news as it happens, or when it happens, and making fun of it. Like, the problem that has happened as a result of that is that people who just want to be a face on YouTube or in a movement rather than a voice in it have looked at that model, which is inarguably incredibly successful, and said, this counts as analysis and coverage, and I am going to do a lamer version of this and call it the news. That's not the news. You have a react channel.
Yes.
And you're looking at something on the surface, and you're commenting on it from a, surface level perspective, because it's a headline reading culture.
Yeah, Jimmy Dore is like a gateway because I used to be into him a lot, and it turned out that when I seen that he was just focusing on not really attacking, but making fun of certain people, not really talking about the news. And he likes to go into Twitter a lot, and that's fine. I mean, that's entertaining, but now it's entertainment for me. It's no longer in the news.
Yeah, I mean, bro, he's a fucking stand-up comic. It should be funny. You should be watching that shit for entertainment. Like, my favorite thing about that show, always and forever, Mike McRae and the phone calls.
Oh yeah,
You know?
stoned Noam Chomsky.
My God, dude. Rip Torn's Hollywood drug tank. Like, that was the funniest shit, dude. And it, I mean, it's still, those bits still crack me up. I'm all like, but that's primarily like what I've watched the show for is the phone calls. Man. I tried to get Mike McRae on the show, and I don't think he was allowed to come on the show.
Mm.
Yeah, okay, so you watch it for comedy, right? I mean, you don't take it that seriously.
Hell yeah. I mean, look, I think that there are a number of people that got hip to the fact that perhaps the world doesn't work the way that they've been marketed it as a result of that show. But I also think that in 2021, a lot of people think that a political education or becoming, your total political awakening can take place by somebody reacting to mainstream media clips.
Exactly, that's what we discussed that before, right? The mainstream media pushes something out and these kind of people react to it, and the only thing they really do is make the mainstream media subject that they pushed a point of discussion that it gets even further amplified.
Well, and here's something that we've been talking about just this past week in terms of the Fourth Industrial Revolution, the Great Reset, is Naomi Klein's article or interview in The Intercept that has been picked up on and reported by a handful at least of, left media news networks and channels and shit like that. What it does and what Door does is remember your manufacturing consent and the allowable parameters of conversation and discussion on any given topic in the media. What Naomi Klein's article does, what Jimmy does, what Kyle Kulinski does, what all these people do is set that left parameter. And then maybe you can go a degree or two past it, but that's the edge of allowable conversation because those guys are still getting on mainstream television, So they're the fringe of all political and geopolitical discussion, and anything past that is tinfoil hat kookaburra nonsense. Well, anything past that on every single subject is where the genuine reality is.
Yeah.
So I can only encourage people to remember that you're on a journey and that at no point really are you ever going to receive the sum total knowledge that exists in the world. So while it's okay to rest, you should not feel like you got to, let's say, I don't know, I mean, pick a show, in that space. I'm not going to, but I'm sure you guys all know what those shows are. What I'm saying is don't get there and then be like, yeah, I'm going to build a house here. I'm done. I don't need to learn anymore. I don't need to think any harder. All of the world has been explained to me. I have achieved enlightenment on episode 236 of, fuck, The Rising or whatever. Kyle.
there's a guy that wrote a good article on the 3 levels of whatever, I forget what it was called. Level 1 was like what you're born with, your religion, your society. And then level 2 is like you find a group that is outside of what you grew up in, and then you end up being absorbed by that group. So whatever it is, the progressives, the communists, the right wing libertarians, like the fringes. And then level 3 is when you start realizing that every one of these groups has a piece of the puzzle, and you got to put it together yourself.
I'm
Right.
just giving everybody else an opportunity to talk because I ran my mouth there for like 8 straight minutes.
Oh, I was refreshing my memory on an article I had once read in The Economist, drawing attention to an issue within the Great Reset, and then also conspiracy theorists went on. And I was kind of struggling to remember the relationship within them, and I'm so tired I can't speak read enough. There was a mention of a child pedophile ring. I just don't recall what the relationship between those two is. Nevertheless, it does have to do with what you were referring to earlier in terms of the difference between presentations of reality and what actually happens. But what was going on there?
Well, I mean, that's just where the initial opening like discussion kind of took us. I've seen that article in The Economist, and this is something that we've talked about for a while now, in that everything that doesn't support the official narrative going forward from 2017 on was going to be tied to Q. Doesn't matter where it's coming from. The child pedophile ring thing is always and only about Pizzagate. It's never about the fact that we've actually arrested international sex traffickers, and at least one of them has killed himself in jail. That's never discussed. The Great Reset is always sort of swept under the rug as, well, it's just the World Economic Forum. I mean, they don't make our laws. They're just having a couple people together like a conference, and that's what it is. And it's not, there's never the recognition that every single elected leader in the West right now has used Build Back Better in their marketing and campaigning, that they've expressly sent, key members of their cabinet to these forums and to these, conventions, that's where our legislation comes from. These are the people who head and fund all of the lobbying arms that create the legislation. Like, people pretend that the government we get to see is the government that makes the decisions, and that is not the case. Even Congress admits that, when you get them on their own. But I mean, the Economist article is simply a way to like blend whatever the current reality and the current conspiracy. Even Naomi Klein alludes to this in her Intercept interview. She calls it a conspiracy smoothie.
I was thinking about another article I read in The Atlantic quite a while ago. Someone had been framing QAnon as a religion, and I can't remember, was it Mark a moment ago who was referring to people? Actually, no, it was the other person. People born with religion, but I don't know. I once read, and during my first year at Reed, I know this seems not like a non sequitur, but the definition of religion being not necessarily something sort of congenital, but something that people so heavily involve themselves in that illusions or just beliefs, right, become their reality in order for them to not succumb to the chaos and randomness of the world. And honestly, it does feel like mainstream media is as much a religion, or at least a system for organizing people's thoughts and inebriating them into believing illusions, as QAnon or any religion, as Geertz would have defined it. He's an anthropologist, by the way, but um, I don't know. I guess we're talking about illusions and the difference between presentations of reality and reality. Maybe I'm going on and on randomly. Does this make sense?
Yeah, it does. The whole idea, the religion is a belief system, and most religions seem to be like, this is the answer. Like in science, trust the science. That's another religion. Trust the economy. Trust the industries, and like scientists and economists and all these other people that are outside of it, journalists too. They're like laughed at because you have these people are like groupthink.
Yeah, but are you talking about a religion or a cult behavior based on a religion? I mean, the QAnon has a lot of these religious aspects to it, like treating that Q guy as like the new messiah and having all these Christian things involved. But really, you're talking about a new cult leader, right? He's not the founder of Christianity. He's interpreting it.
What is the difference between a religion and a cult? I mean,
yeah, I mean, like spirituality can be individual, right? I mean, you're allowed to like think for yourself about like how did the universe start, right? I mean, this can be. Yeah.
There are a lot of Q followers that they don't really buy the whole thing. Like what is that latest New York Times thing about? Some New York Times writer was August when Trump is going to come into office, and they're like, yeah, bullshit, right? I don't really get involved anymore, but I remember reading stuff, and they within their group, like there were people that were questioning stuff and having their own little arguments. But yeah, in any religion or any belief system, you have these cult-like people. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, my experience at Catholic school in the '90s, that would very much constitute a cult. And then again, most people will think of quite a few people at least, the ones I grew up with, will think of Catholicism as a religion. But you were characterizing the difference between, I suppose, a cult and a religion, Mark, is based on providing malleability of thought, or the ability to accept certain beliefs and dispel others. When I did that in Catholic school, I was called a cafeteria Catholic, and I get detentions. But does the definition of a cult go beyond that? I mean, like, think of maybe Julian's experience as a child of the family, and that doomsday cult. That was bizarre. But then again, Catholic priests do abuse children comparably. So, I don't know.
Well, I mean, there's a big difference between organized religion and the spirituality. Like, I mean, like, of course you can for yourself think about like, yeah, what is what's like the meaning of life, right? You can think about these things, but you don't have to be part of an organization to do that. Actually, it contradicts it, because you're like for yourself thinking about things, and you don't need someone else to decide for you. But a cult mentality is not just in religion; it is also in modern society. Like we discussed it before about the United States, for example, and the military-industrial complex. It benefits from constant fear. Like you push fear into the minds. Like either you're saying like terrorists are attacking us, or COVID is attacking us. Whatever you use, you implant fear into the minds, and the people will look to their leaders for solutions. And always these solutions seem to include reduction of human rights, more money to the military. So for me, that is also a cult mentality, because it is a genetic thing of Darwinist genetic, like collective memory of survival, having the herd survive, and you need to look at the alphas to make the herd survive. Like you have like a pack of humans hunting, and the weak ones look to the strong ones to decide how they will survive, right? To move them in a direction.
In other words, people need a leader, and then deviating from like normative framework drives people fucking crazy. I would say partly because the stigmatization of those people, but I don't know. Cults, probably, the American government is very much one of those. Um, I guess that's what you were implying. I don't know.
Yeah, well, even if you jump outside of the whole mainstream media thing, like you have a lot of people who are just waking up to like what the mainstream media and the amount of lies they're pushing, and a huge part of them are instantly looking for new leaders, and they run to like the new alternative leaders. And you guys mentioned Jimmy Dore before. You have people like Alex Jones, Jimmy Dore, the new leaders, right? They're not looking to empower themselves. They look for new leaders, new shepherds, right?
Yeah, but unfortunately, like I think it was more than 50% of the population was found to be authoritarian followers. Psychologist Bob Altemeyer wrote a book about it. He originally only did it on the right wing, but the left wing, you could see now with this COVID thing, they've totally become, and Trump, they've become themselves authoritarian followers. So like when the media or their leaders like AOC or whatever say it's Russia or whatever the new narrative is, they just jump right on. And maybe that's the idea of a cult, right? Like you could be a Catholic and not automatically believe that whatever bad thing might happen to you because you don't follow the book. But then there are other people that actually do take it literally. Like their reality is shaped by what someone tells them.
Yeah. I mean, it was so refreshing when I began converting to Judaism to be amidst some Reform rabbis who were so erudite and where I were so like, oh, why don't you? They were very open to my questioning the existence of God or any one of the tenets they espoused, and then again, also it was attractive that they were not into the genocide of Palestinians, but it was a radical contrast, and I don't know. Reform Judaism is it's been good to me, but I did get COVID and had to abort that program, but. So
What do you mean? You just stopped going, or you just feel like
so this was I got COVID, or at least later a doctor assessed the X-rays of my lungs and all of that, and pneumonia in both lungs. So yeah, I was sick for 6 weeks. I couldn't get out of bed, and I decided that I should probably just revisit the program another time. But that was February 2020, and I just got so busy with so many things. But if you celebrate the holidays, you know, kind of
yeah, my girlfriend went to yeshiva, and she's atheist now, agnostic atheist. And yeah, I mean it's interesting. There's a lot of more philosophy in Judaism than there is in Christianity. Christianity is more emotion based, I think. Judaism, Buddhism, they're more intellect. Like I do like that more than the emotion based, like feel it kind of a Christian thing.
Oh, sure. The rabbi and I talked about this in terms of how if Jews have been historically a people in the diaspora, like they don't have a home. I suppose it's a bit different now if you endorse the state of Israel as a Jewish state, but in not having a home, they had a home in their subjective life or in their books and study. Now that I suppose is a really broad generalization, but it is a hypothesis. Um, and I don't know. Um, but yeah, I pretty much deviated so significantly from what you were talking about earlier. Um,
No, that's good. That's what we do here.
I mean, the rabbi, I specifically requested someone who would have a knowledge of Hannah Arendt, the political scientist writer, I guess you'd call her, the one who wrote that book, Totalitarianism. And I guess I just wanted to understand the Holocaust and the alienation of people from themselves, or the obliteration of identity. And then that guy was awesome. The rabbi was very, very versed in that mode of thinking. But that's not something I encountered in Catholicism. And then going back to the dichotomy between cult and religion, I kind of like what you were saying earlier about malleability of thought. But
Yeah, I mean, every one of these books, these history books, science books, religions, they've been written by the victors. I mean, they always say that they're original, but how do we know? And whoever is the one that's in power is the one that sets the dialogue, and then they reinterpret it or whatever, and then they change it. And when you try to go back and you try to find the original, I mean, a lot of times it's like it's lost, but we don't know who lost it. You know, there's been times where civilizations take over and they just burn all the old shit.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, yeah, that's consistent throughout history, isn't it? Um, so,
Yeah, that is just how it is. But uh, it also has to do with like what religion can best convince people, I guess. I mean, what is more
yeah.
more valid for the time too? Like, what is more believable? What's more
I
pushed?
mean,
Yeah.
oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, there's a good video. It's called Alphabet versus the Goddess, and it's this. He was a heart surgeon, but when he retired, he got into all this anthropology, and he said around like I don't know how many thousand years ago, there started being more writing, and writing became the time when man went from like tribal hunter gatherer into this like centralized grain is stored together and all this agriculture, and then it's led into these big markets, and now we have authoritarian governments. He said that there's something about writing that changed people to become less like the religion before was like you would give thanks for things, but now it's you have to pay fealty to whichever god. You have to do it first, then you get rewarded. But the original religions were more like, I have luck today. It started raining because of the god, instead of like having to beg him. And he thinks that writing is actually where man was able to manipulate each other and say like, oh, I spoke to God and he told me this, and you have to end up listening to the story of one man for a bunch of people instead of everyone experiencing it for themselves.
Oh, sure. I mean, in terms of the illusory nature, I mean, even of religion, or maybe they're cultish. I don't know, but like consider the birth of Buddhism, right? Siddhartha Gautama, the Buddha, right? He had a vision, and out of that group, during his asceticism, eating a grain of rice once a day or something, going nuts. Born of that was Buddhism, and then I don't know. Go to the Jesuit order, for example. Saint Ignatius of Loyola, formerly a Basque soldier, convalescing from a terrible war wound, hallucinated, what was it, a message from Jesus that he had to go out and proselytize and kind of impose the religion on literally everyone who was vulnerable, i.e., I don't know, people in the global South, for example. But I guess it wasn't known. Obviously, it wasn't known as the global South then. But so.
Yeah, I guess the key thing is like the difference between a cult and a religion is that if you're in a religion, you could still think for yourself, but there are people in religions that are cult-like, and you see that in all of them. I mean, even Buddhism. I've had friends that were quite strict and dogmatic.
Oh, sure. And oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh no, I just wanted to say that that's like Q. Like you have some of the people in Q who are just like questioning Epstein and all that stuff, and then there are people who are like hardcore, believe what was that guy's name? Pompeo. Believe this guy. Believe that guy. And they had infighting. I mean, I didn't go long in there, but yeah, I saw infighting. So I had hope with that, but I just didn't want to stay in there.
And people are just in so much pain. Right, there needs to be a solution, and the oppressive mechanisms of like needing to realize the American dream, or actually just basically get food on the table to keep your children from becoming overly famished. There needs to be an answer, and a simple one. People desire that, and I gotta say, it's been very, very stressful trying to deviate from that. Not materially satisfying, I suppose you'd say, but I don't know. Ernst Junger, once wrote that modern man can be defined by his pain. And of course, at the end of No Exit, Stark wrote, "Hell is other people." Clearly, people are in a lot of agony. Um, but yeah,
Yeah, I mean, like with the whole COVID thing, the vaccines and stuff, you can see that there is a huge, despite what happened, there are still people that are latching on to this like lockdown mentality, even though now it's trailed down, and it's almost like they want to suffer, like they think that this is like good for them, and you see that in religion too, like the idea of like denial of self, deny your impulses, deny your feelings, deny your anger, deny all these things. But I mean, we've evolved to have our own emotions for a reason. But it's almost like modern civilization, religion is just one of them. But these things that keep people in a box until people wake up for themselves, like that we're saying level 2. There, a lot of people might be born Catholic and then they become a Q person or Alex Jones, or they become Buddhist or whatever, but they're still in another box. But then level 3, he said, is when you start realizing that every box has its advantages and disadvantages. So now you can jump around. You could be like, I understand why the Catholics did this, or the Jews did this, or Q says this. You don't dismiss, like, for example, you wouldn't dismiss everything of Q just because they're stupid about half of their stuff. Sometimes they say things. I think that is hard right now. We see it right now, where if you even just question the vaccine or whatever, you get like a lot of people that are looking at you like, what, you don't believe in science? As if like science is this like predefined set answer. They already figured out the answer 10 years ago.
oh, I mean, it too is a approximation of reality, just as opposed to a formal mathematical one that yields physical results, or at least causes perceived physical results. I tend to think the overprescription of psychiatric drugs is just a masking of spiritual malaise. But not to say that people don't benefit from them; they may very well. But yeah, I mean, I don't know that it engages the inner self. And we were talking about religion, the difference between religion and spirituality, I guess, and then cults. But yeah, denying yourself things. My experience at Catholic school was a huge emphasis on repression of sexuality. No, no mystery to anyone. That is just common, and it makes me think of a lyric, actually, in terms of like the tyranny and arbitrary authority of the Catholic Church around this, right? And then the kind of just absolutely deplorable behavior by priests against children. But it takes me to the lyrics from a song by Rage called "Born of a Broken Man," and so it's my fears hunt me down, capturing my memories, the frontier of loss. Then tried to escape across the street where Jesus stripped bare and raped the spirit he was supposed to nurture. So, yeah, finding poetry in Rage. I don't know, but no. So
Yeah, I do like connecting that, like that, the whole idea of religions and belief systems. It still applies today. Like we think we're more atheists today, right? So we think, like a lot of atheists I know, they still have a deep belief system in, let's say, the medical establishment or whatever. It could even be Elon Musk. Like they believe in green energy and all this stuff, despite the doubts. But it's like you're an atheist, but you still have a part of your brain that makes you religious. I mean, that's why religion was invented by man.
oh, sure. No, just the contrast between like Jesus, who's supposed to be a pure figure, and then actually he's a rapist. But yeah, again, like the difference between presentations of reality, like the sort of like self-denying Catholic sort of Saint Augustine sort of self-flagellation, kind of from the Confessions, but really it's just a masking of reality. It goes back to what we were discussing earlier, I guess. But those lyrics from the Rage song, but Not to be discussing that earlier, but I point out. Um, oh yeah, that's the other thing. It seems, I mean, like in dealing with existentialism ideas around modern man, right? It has to do with alienation from the self. So in World War One, there was this narrative about how highly, like unprecedentedly mechanized machines of war would literally blow men to pieces, like quite tangibly, concretely a representation of man being alienated from himself. And then I don't know, just go through it, right? The Nazis trying to obliterate deviations from the Aryan norm in terms of Jews or dissident artists or gays or any number of things. And then I don't know, go all the way up through COVID, and people are confined to their houses, unable to connect with people. Social behavior is so integral to, integration of the self. Insofar as when you're with people, you see reflections of yourself. I think, at least this is my experience. And in the absence of that, what do you do to see who you are? My God, the last 120 years have been a nightmare in terms of not being able to connect to who you are. At least it seems. But you were talking about, I think, something along those lines earlier. Maybe I'm rambling. I apologize if I am.
No. This is how it goes. We come up with new ideas that way. Brainstorming.
Oh.
Okay, so guys, we have like limited time. I think Steve has to go now. Am I right, Steve?
I'm muted. Yeah, no, I've got my afternoon show here in 20 minutes, and I haven't had a cup of coffee since 9 o'clock this morning. Yeah. We did almost 3 hours on Slow News Day, and then I'm here 4 days, because I love you all. But I do need to grab a beverage. And unfortunately, the way that Rockfin works is that if, really all streaming platforms, but if we stop the stream like immediately before we go live again, then it just runs like on top of it, and we don't get the show out. And then we can't stream off, and then it's just running shows live on Rockfin for the next day and a half, and nothing is playing.
Hey, I don't know how long you have to do a show, Steve, but I'm thinking I want to go live again, like in 4.5 hours. But
okay, yeah, no, we'll be done. It's like a 2-hour thing. I mean, this will be pretty extensive. But I mean, if you're live in 4 hours, I'll probably hop on. I do want to talk to my girl for a little bit, though.
Yeah,
that's gonna happen.
You should. You can't do it. Yeah. Okay, so
I need to take a long nap. Perhaps I will reappear. I've been working since 6 a.m. yesterday morning.
Wow.
Yeah, no, you should take a nap, man. You should.
Yeah. So to listeners, I want just real quick.
I love you guys. I'm gonna hop off of Jitsi, and when you closed out the server, Mark, it should stop Rockfin.
Yeah, I'll stop it with 5 minutes. I just want to say to the listeners real fast. So we're going live in I think in 4.5 hours again. Because it was kind of like a short show, but we have more to discuss, I think, and I know some others want to come on too tonight. So please help to share this around. You guys know that all of us are like shadow banned, and we depend on all of you to do it. So thanks anyway for listening. There's a little special about the whole Elon Musk thing, and I'll discuss some other stuff too. So appreciate you guys.
Yeah, fuck Elon Musk.
Yeah, fuck Elon Musk. Yeah.
Thank you for having me again. I think I will go pass out a bit and try to, with a fresh mind, come back later.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Okay,
Bye, guys.
Okay, I'll close the stream. So sharing is caring, everyone. Should I give the anonymous PSA is to spay and neuter all your politicians, and I'll add lobbyists to that too, right? And you'll hear from us later tonight, I guess. Are you going to be on, Rob, by the way?
I'm not sure yet.
You're usually up, like when I was still up too, like middle of the night.
Yeah, but right now I'm with my boss.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
No, but no, she's good. Yeah, I'll see how I feel.
Okay.
What time are you doing it?
Nah, I'm thinking like 4.5 hours or something, like the regular ABB time.
Okay, so why today special? 4.5, 9, 10. Yeah, I just came back from a trip. I was in Philadelphia with my girlfriend, and it was fun.
Yeah, but you're probably tired then now. Yes. Yeah.
Just lazy. You come home and you're just lazy for a day. I gotta work tomorrow.
Oh, I have to cut off this stream, by the way.
I'm not a crypto billionaire.
Me neither yet.
My coworker he's crying now because it jumped down, and then I'm telling him, I'm like, you should have sold before when I was telling you, because I told him, I was like, how much you made? He made a decent amount, and I'm like, okay, you're gonna sell? You're gonna sell half? He's like, no, I want to keep it. And then it jumped down, and then he because he bought in late. I had a feeling it was gonna drop before this whole thing. I told him, I was like, as soon as Elon pulls out, they're gonna have an issue, because it's based on volume.
Okay. Yeah, no, you're right. Hey, just real quick to listeners, I just had a message from Deepa, so I'll probably have Deepa drive around tomorrow. She was going to come tonight, but she had some meetings, so that's postponed till tomorrow. And I want to discuss some stuff with her. She is organizing some things for whistleblowers, and it's always very impressive what she does. I'm not sure if you guys remember the whole whistleblower and dissent fest like a month ago, but it had like a lineup that was insane, like so many different great speakers, and it went on like all night. And so hoping for something similar soon again with Deepa. So I'm going to end the stream now, and I hope to be back in 4 hours and 15 minutes with you.